the great Satan himself.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Bollocks. Why am I doing this? We've got this stuff. Yeah, I know. Now, personally, I don't really like this stuff. I remember drinking this when I first left school. And in fact, I probably drank this when I was in school as well, thinking about it now. I'm just looking, it's got something fucking stuck to the side, a bit of glue. Fuck knows where this has come from. And it's been battered to fuck. Look at that. Wait, hang on, I'm trying to sort out this camera now, and autofocus has gone completely fucking garrety. I've got a lot more light in here, so I'm trying to get a better quality video for you, because I've been looking at some of the others, and a couple of viewers have commented as well, and they said that the picture quality is shit on your videos, and yeah, I have to agree, it's not great. So that's why I'm doing a little bit of experimentation. Hopefully the quality's better for you. Anyway, let's get on to this stuff, for fuck's sake, really. Carlsberg, yeah, they've been going since 1847. Now, I don't want to get too much into the history of the brewery here, because it's, yeah, they're Danish and they've been going since 1847. What I do want to cover on this is something to do with the ingredients. Well, it's mainly to do with the ingredients. Here's a little fact for you. Carlsberg, when you was at school, you must have done the pH scale, yeah? Where you do your acids and your alkalis, and you'd use a litmus paper, dip it in the liquid, and the litmus paper will turn a colour, and then you match it up with the pH scale and you see how much acid content it's got, whether it's neutral, whether there's neither acid nor alkali in there, or whether there's heavy alkali in there as well. That was invented by a fella called Søren Sørensen, who was a chemist at the Carlsberg Brewery, and I think he did that in, I think it was 1909, and he invented the pH scale, and they gave it away to all the other industries that were in need of this, and basically they were the fathers of that whole pH scale thing. So there's a little tidbit of information there for you. But the other thing that I want to talk about in this beer, now they've said that they come up with all sorts of claims, don't they, this lot, the fucking jokers. I mean, just to give you a bit of an indication of how big these lot are. Like recently in the United Kingdom, Carlsberg, they joined up with Marston's. So Carlsberg worldwide currently own well, I would say over 100 different beer brands and drinks brands. So they're pretty big, and they own various amounts of stakes in certain breweries. Sometimes they even go into partnership with Heineken. I'll get onto that in a minute. There's been quite a few takeovers with Heineken, who are also a very big brewer as well, but Carlsberg have got together with them and basically sort of dominated the brewing market. But what I want to bring to your attention, and it's included in this beer as well, and I imagine it's included in all the Carlsberg beers, it's got something called null lox barley. So what is null lox barley? Well, there is an enzyme in barley, in normal barley I should say, that will deteriorate over a period of time, and it's what makes beer taste bad when it goes stale. Now, yeah, I do question certain brewers when they put a sell-by date on their beer. Usually craft brewers do this with beer that they haven't pasteurised or they haven't filtered. That does have quite a short shelf life on there, because when you don't filter the beer, I wouldn't say you're leaving in impurities, but you're leaving in stuff there that is normally taken out in the brewing process, and that can go off, depending on what it is, obviously. But this no locks barley has got the enzyme taken out that makes beer taste bad, and that was developed by both Heineken and Carlsberg as well, and it's quite popular. A lot of farmers have said there've been great yields from their maltings, especially in the UK, and it does have a few advantages as well. Obviously, you've got that it supposedly improves the shelf life of beer, but another reason why brewers like it as well, it requires less kilning when they're drying it. So what does that mean for brewers? Well, it means you don't have to spend as much money on energy trying to dry out your malt before you use it for the brewing process, and that's got to be a bonus for them, because obviously they're saving money on their energy bills, and let's face it, we all need to save money on energy bills now. But it also does a couple of other things as well, and this does improve the stability of the beer. So in the brewing process, sometimes you get sort of volatile ingredients which can ruin a whole batch of beer. This is quite stable, apparently, and various tests have proved that. It also improves the head retention on beer too. So again, this has come after years of research from between Heineken and Carlsberg, but they haven't done that for free, obviously. Anybody who grows this, anybody who uses this, any brewer who uses this, they have to pay a fee to Carlsberg and Heineken, and you can sort of say, well, they did the research, they own that, and it's used by a lot of home brewers as well, who also say that there's some excellent results from this no locks barley, but I imagine it's a little bit more expensive than normal barley. But they use it in this. Now, this, I think, recently has gone through a recipe change, and I'm just looking at the stuff on the back. Carlsberg, probably the best lager, best beer in the world. No, it's not. I'll take that from me, it's not. What's this say? There's some marketing bullshit on the back of this. Oh, this is where I sort of half go into rant mode. At Carlsberg, the pursuit of better is in our DNA. Fuck me. They've been going all that time and they're still producing shit like this. Our perfectly balanced Danish Pilsner is wonderfully crisp and refreshing with a fuller flavour and a distinctive hop aroma. Skål. I think that's how they pronounce it in Swedish, actually, not Danish. Sweden and Denmark obviously don't get along. Less said about that, the better. Probably the best lager in the world. Get to fuck. In working with the brewery, we should be in constant pursuit of better beer, so that the brewery might always set standards and assist in keeping beer brewing at the high and honourable level. What fucking tosser come up with that? I can't believe that they still have the balls to print that on the side of a can. Danish Pilsner brewed in the UK. That is always a fucking alarm bell when you see that a beer that's brewed under licence in the UK, using a Danish recipe and yeast. Ingredients: water, malted barley, hops, hop oil. Yeah. As I say, I've been drinking Carlsberg. Well, I used to drink Carlsberg years ago when I first left school, and I didn't really like it then. I didn't really like the taste of it. I found it very watery, and on the odd occasion I have been to a football match. Certain clubs had this, not this, but Carlsberg as the only beer available, and I would drink it. Not now. I'd rather not drink any beer if this is the only stuff that's available, but here, look at me having some Danish. They've called it a Danish Pilsner. What does that mean? What's the characteristics of a Danish Pilsner? You know, it's like saying an English carbonara. There is only one, and that's from the Czech Republic. Everything else is an imitation. Now, you can say that same about German Pilsners, but yeah, what is the... German Pilsners do have certain characteristics, but what's the characteristics of a Danish Pilsner? I don't know.
Sam, he's making it up as he goes along. No, I'm not.
Do I want to know? Probably not. But There you go. I'm rambling. I'm keeping it calm, as you might already have observed. I'm going to try and keep it that way. But when these fuckers say this is probably the best beer in the world, let me clear that up for you now, without even tasting a drop. It is not. Let's investigate and see what it's all about. Well, I've just read out all the spiel on the side of the can, but I'll just give you a quick rundown. This is a 500ml can. I'm glad they're not doing 440, but it's 500. And the alcohol is 3.8%. Now, 3.8% in the UK. Everywhere else, 5%. I don't know why they do that. Probably because the government taxes alcohol, and maybe they want to pay less tax, so they've just reduced the ABV. So again, it's a cost-cutting exercise. The flavour, I think, is immaterial. I know they put it all on the side of the can. If you have to say the pursuit of better, you know, it's in our DNA and shit like that, I don't know. If you have to put that, every brewer should be striving for that, the pursuit of excellence. It should be a given. You shouldn't need to use it as a fucking marketing gimmick. That was always their marketing slogan, probably the best lager in the world. And it never was. It was always pretty fucking ropey, especially in the pubs on draft. I haven't drank that for blimey. I can't remember the last time I had a Carlsberg. But let's stop rambling, keep it calm, get this open, see what's going on. Right. This No Locks malt is a new one on me. It's the first time I've ever come across that. Probably because no other brewer's made a big deal of it, but Carlsberg would, because it was them that actually came up with it. I will say the head doesn't look too bad on that. You see that? It's about 1.5 finger white head. Aroma. The usual grainy cereal, that kind of thing. The other added bonus for this No Locks malt is that it doesn't contain that DMS, or it prevents the formation of DMS. You know, that horrible corn flavour you sometimes get. It's an off flavour that you normally get in light coloured beers, usually when they use Pilsner malt, and it's very, very off-putting. I don't like it. But apparently this No Locks malt, it negates that. So you should never get a corn type aroma from Carlsberg. Well, it remains to be seen. But I'm not getting it here. What I am getting is just cheap grain and a little bit of lemon citrus. Typically macro smelling beer. Very faint aromas as well. Oh well, wish me luck. It's cold, it's come out of the fridge. Bottoms up. Aggressive carbonation already. That's the main thing I've taken from this. And it just tastes so fucking cheap, even at this temperature. Now this is cold, it's been in the fridge for a couple of days. And that aroma is just nasty, macro. And the finish, again, is typical of just an insipid, mass-produced, macro-brewed, light-coloured beer. That carbonation is really aggressive, really, to the point where it's abrasive. There's a horrible aftertaste on this as well. It smells like, you remember, I keep talking about that confectionery smell that you get sometimes in beer. It's like a chewy sweet. I can get that on the aroma, very, very slightly. But it's definitely there. But it's a mixture of cheap grain and like a, I don't know, like a insipid lemon citrus. And that just isn't nice. Hardly tastes of anything. Oh, that now really doesn't smell good. Again, as I say, it's subtle, cheap grain with a little bit of, I don't know, there's like a sweetness to it. I don't know whether that's maybe they put brewing sugar or glucose, not sugar, that'd be glucose. But that's on there. And there's like a soapy type aroma, very subtle, but it is there, and it ain't good. And the flavour, aside from the really abrasive carbonation, no, it's not nice. That's really poor quality beer. It really is. If you drank this ice cold on a really hot day, I think, and when I say ice cold, I mean ice cold. And I would recommend, if you are going to drink this shit, which I'm not going to fucking recommend, but if you absolutely insist, get it in 330ml cans, keep them as cold as possible, and then drink it as quickly as possible, because as soon as this goes warm, it's going to taste like dog shit. Not that it isn't tasting like dog shit to me already. It just isn't great. Oh, that aroma. It's got all kinds of things going on in it now. It just isn't nice. And it's just insipid, and the finish is that cheap grainy finish. And I think this is for people who really don't want any flavour in their beer. I've just reviewed the John Smith stuff as well, so that's two dog shit beers I've reviewed back to back, and I'm not going to drink the rest of this, certainly not. I'm pouring it into the can so it's quicker to pour down the sink, but down the fucking sink is where it's going, because there is nothing that I really like about this at all. It's just, this is what happens when you brew beer on a huge scale. The quality goes out the window, because they don't care. It's just get it out there, get the fucking punters money in, sell it in these big corporate events. I reviewed Budweiser the other day as well, and as I say, that got quite a good response from people. Now, I'm glad to see that the people responding to the video don't drink Budweiser. Not one of them has, and I've reviewed bad beer in the past, and some people have put in the comments, I don't mind this on a certain occasion or whatever, which is fine, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But on the Budweiser one, and rightly so, nobody came back and said that, yeah, this is one of my regulars and all that. Even Americans have said it's terrible stuff. So that is good to see. But I think Carlsberg should be added to that list as well. And as I say, these big companies, beer is not the first thing. Beer is not the first priority with them. They have shareholders. They have other business interests such as pubs, etc., corporate sponsorship. That's the big thing for them. The beer is, to me, the beer is incidental. It's just a product. And I think with stuff like this is where the marketing teams are the most important people, not the brewers. With companies like that, I should say. That's just devoid of anything appealing, and I'm not going to take another mouthful out of it, because there's no fucking point really. This is just, you can tell from certain brewers where they've had a care in what they've brewed, and they're proud of the products they brew. Carlsberg aren't. They can give it the big, and they can give it all the flim flam on their own website, and saying how great our beer is, and how much we take pride in it, and how much we they do the research and all that, which they do. I'm not disputing that, but to come up with a product. It's even worse to come up with a fucking marketing line saying probably the best lager in the world. No, fuck off. You're not fooling anyone. Well, you are, because people are buying it. But believe me, this is not the best lager, or even the best beer in the world. So, what is the verdict on Carlsberg Danish Pilsner? Well, this is a new recipe. Fuck knows what the old shit tasted like, because I never drank it. I do remember it from when I was a kid. Didn't like it, and even back then I could tell it was shit. Same with Heineken, and nothing's changed. This is fucking rubbish. Carlsberg, everything they produce under license in this country it tastes like shit. And I don't know whether this is going to taste any different in Denmark. Maybe, maybe not. I'm sure a few viewers have been over to Copenhagen and they said they've drank this on draft, or will say, I should say, and they're going to say, oh, it tasted okay. Maybe so, but I'm only going by what's put in front of me. I am a UK based reviewer. I can only review what's available to me over here, and this stuff is available over here in almost every supermarket. In fact, I'd go one further and say it's available in every supermarket, and many little shops and off licenses as well. And I don't know who buys it. I've never seen anybody buying a crate of Carlsberg. I'll tell you a lie. I bought a crate of Carlsberg, and it wasn't for me. It was for the fella across the road, because Percy managed to get out on one of his little escapades when we was out somewhere. I can't remember where it was. I think we'd gone somewhere, but the door was left ajar, and Percy got out, and little Bob got out as well and ran off. And the fella across the road managed to catch the pair of them, bring them back into the house, and close the door for us. Really do appreciate that. And I went and bought him a crate of Carlsberg, and I brought it over and I said, thanks for taking the dogs in, mate, really do appreciate that. I said, here's a crate of beer for you. He said, I don't drink. So I didn't want to be lumbered with it, and he runs a roofing firm, so he give it to all the workers in his roofing firm. But yeah, that's the only time I've bought one since, well, possibly. It only sticks out that I've bought Carlsberg, when I left school, and it was shit then, and it's shit now. And the only reason I bought it for the fellow across the road was because I was in Aldi at the time, and they had this. I was going to get them the Löwenbräu, then I realised that was being brewed under licence over here as well, and I thought, I'm not fucking giving anyone that. That's fucking dog shit. But this stuff, don't bother. I mean, I hope I wouldn't need to tell you that, but if you're thinking about trying some of this stuff, it's fucking rubbish. There's far more better beer. Even in your local supermarket, there's bound to be better beer. Even there's bound to be better lager. If you can see Budvar in cans wherever you are, it just fucking knocks this for six. This is dog shit. Don't bother. It's rubbish. Shit beer from a brewer who brew stuff under contract in this country. They're linked with Marston's as well, and you know my views on Marston's. Rarely do they make a good beer. I'm not saying they don't make a good beer, but yeah, it's the axis of evil. I've done Budweiser, I've done Heineken, and now I've done Carlsberg. People keep asking me, will I do Carling? I suppose I should really. I've done Foster's, so why not? And I've managed to keep it relatively rant free. So there you go. I don't know what's come over me. Maybe it's all this lighting. Maybe I was just frustrated because the lighting was so shit. Well, there you go. That's a 1 out of 10. Not recommended. Remember, I'm not drinking this shit, so you don't have to.